The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Backdoor pass, and they score! Lawson Krause lasers one in, and the Mammoth are off and running. Keller, one-timer, tipped wide, rebound, they score! Johnny Marino makes it 2-0. Brandon Tanev around behind the Ottawa net, wraparound, shut down, rebound loose, it's still loose! They're trying to jam it in, Miralainen got back, Utah saying it's in, and it is! The Mammoth kick down the door and make it 3-1!
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Daniil Boot was going to get that second goal of the season in that moment, regardless of what happened. You were not going to deny that guy. Right in front of the goal, just absolutely poking away, and finally it goes into the goal, and it made it 3-1, and they get the win over the Ottawa Senators. Nice start to the homestand with 7 games in front of them. They've got a lot that they've got to do to keep those points rolling in to be able to stay in that conversation of all of the things that have to do with the playoffs. But, hey, this portion of the show, by the way, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com. Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. We're getting ready for college football semifinals. We've got the Utah Mammoth across the street. And Cole Bagley, our Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com, just walked into the studio. Cole, does this part of your job get old, going over and having to cover the game again over here at Delta Center?
Nah.
No, it doesn't.
I'm a bit of a sicko, I think.
No, we all kind of are. I mean, like, there's a thing to this. I mean, the reality is some people could live their dream of their career and everything, and other people say this has been a dream and they don't mean it. You're the latter. You're the former. You're the one that gets to actually have that dream thing that you're covering the team and being able to watch this whole thing go down. What impressed you the other night? On a game-by-game basis, we kind of live and die with this team. We tell fans not to do it, but we do. Tell us what happened in that game that you were impressed by that was a good start to the 7-game homestand.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was definitely just their approach to their play in front of the net on both ends. You know, Ottawa is a nasty team, and a lot of it's stems from their captain, right? Brady Tkachuk is one of the nasty players in the NHL who throws his body around, and I mean, he is always hunting. He's always looking to smash somebody, to pulverize somebody, and that's the style that the Senators play is a gritty, physical game in front of the net on both ends. And I think that was probably Utah's best performance in terms of their net front presence. They were pushing around. They were whacking away. I mean, Boot scores that goal because of that. That effort, right? They surrounded the goaltender and they just pushed it until it went across the line. And then the other end, Utah's defense is not overly big by any means. I think John Marino is probably the biggest player back there, and he's 6'2", maybe 6'3", but most of the guys are about 6 foot, maybe a little bit taller. And going up against guys like Tkachuk, who are 6'4", 6'5", they did really well. He was rendered pretty ineffective, and
his worst game of the season. I mean, he was -3 on the ice, which just not happen for Brady Tkachuk.
No, he's a dominant force. I mean, we're living in a day and age where those guys are rare, but their game is so important. So. Yeah, I was really impressed with how they approached that on both ends, and Coach Torney talked about it afterwards, and I met with Bill the other day, and that's the style they want to see moving forward through the rest of the season, is to play physical, gritty hockey, because generally speaking, the team that wins that kind of battle every night is going to win on the scoreboard.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and you got to have a goaltender that's on top of his game, and right now, Kirill Vamilka is just that. You watch him each and every game. What's the difference now compared to maybe earlier in the season?
I think when he was pulled about a month ago, it made a big difference.
Really?
And I think a lot of times that's why you pull a goalie. It's not because you're going to bring in your backup and you're going to win the game, right? You're usually trailing by 4 or 5 at that point. But it's to send a message. And over these last 13 games, he's 9-4, and his save percentage is above 900. His save percentage was, I think, .907 in December, and if you don't count the game against New Jersey, his save percentage is .932 in January. Wow. Now, if you do count it, it's like .895 because that game against New Jersey was a little rough. But, he's just playing more confidently. He's making those unexpected saves. He's saving the ones that you expect him to save, and then he's occasionally making the unexpected ones. He did that 3 or 4 times against Ottawa. He stopped a critical breakaway in the second period that could have tied things up, 2-2 game in the second instead of 2-1, and then, who knows where it goes from there. And he did, he had some similarly big saves in the third period, as Ottawa got a couple of power plays. He was their best penalty killer on the night. So, yeah, he looks a lot more like the goaltender that won Utah's net a year ago, and that's
got him the big contract too.
Exactly, that's the guy that signed the big contract. That's the guy that they believe in, and if he can play that way, if he can stay around 900 through the rest of the season, I think Utah makes the playoffs.
Let's take a look at a guy who we talked to Bear Tourney yesterday. You talked to Bill Armstrong about him too, and I'm fascinated by Daniil Boot. He's young, he's super raw, but he is got something. He's got a knack where he's always around the puck. He finds himself attacking the net and not having a problem. And he has, moments where guys try to go, I'm going to stick it to this rookie. I'm going to hit him hard. It's like he does not get fazed by it. What do you like about his game? What has Bill Armstrong said about his game? Of course, Coach Torney approves of the Cheeks nickname as of yesterday.
But he's still pushing Booter, which is a little disappointing because that just doesn't work.
Yeah. I asked him about that today. But I said, you got a lot of nicknames. Which one do you like the most? He goes, Booter is good. but
didn't love Cheeks.
Cheeks is good too.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Bear goes. No, Cheeks is good. Cheeks is a good one. Like he liked it too. He just is. I don't know if he can bring himself to it. It feels very much like
it's hard to take a guy seriously who you call Cheeks.
Well, it's also like me trying
it's
to like.
It's also hard for a head coach to be taken seriously when he's calling one of his players Cheeks.
It is one of the best nicknames in the NHL.
There's no doubt
because the NHL is all about nicknames, and most of the time they're really not like anything extraordinary. It's like. Keller is Kells, and Krause is Krauser, and Schmaltz is Schmaltzy.
Right.
Usually you just
that's what
E-R-Y.
He's adding
exactly.
Booter, Cools.
So Cheeks is so good.
It is.
But yeah, he's a special player. I had an opportunity to talk to Bill Armstrong about him yesterday, and he said that what makes him so special on this team is they have not had a player like Daniil Boot for a long time in this organization. And it's like you were talking about, pointing out, he just keeps going to the net. He runs over a future Hall of Famer in Jonathan Quick, who wants to fight him, who wants to rip his face off. And he just gives him that big, cheeky Russian smile. And he does it again on the next shift. Mm-hmm. And then against Ottawa, he's doing it again. He's going right at the net. And he's sitting there, on his backside, whacking at the puck, and it goes in, and he puts his hands in the air, and then he just lays down on the ice. And that was 2 or 3 shifts after he got absolutely pulverized in the defensive zone. Bill also told me, he said, look, we're working on some curriculum about mental toughness. And there's going to be a chapter in there just labeled Daniil Boot. Because it doesn't matter what happens to him.
That's a compliment.
He gets up and he goes, and he goes, and he goes, and he goes. And, as soon as that puck starts to, more consistently get across the line, he is going to be such a good player. As soon as his confidence continues to grow.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up there is what is his ceiling? Like when you're looking around the league and you look, is there comps for him?
Tage Thompson.
Okay.
A big, giant oaf who is going to mess around in the crease, who's going to push people out, who is too big to just even handle. Because there's not that many defensemen that are overly big that can match him, size for size, inch for inch. He's humongous. Yeah. He's so tough to push around. And so I think that's the ceiling, is a Tage Thompson type player, which he just got named to Team USA. Right. He'll be playing he scored the golden goal at World Championships. Mm-hmm. He's a really special talent. So I think that's the hope and the ceiling for this kid. And if you guys have been watching him, I think he's played about 17, 18 games now. He just continues to get better. He's putting himself in the right spot every single time. The only issue is that he's not finishing the chances. So as soon as he's able to consistently finish those chances, when his confidence grows a little bit more, when he learns the North American style game a little bit better, and another question I asked is Bill. I said, "Is he shooting enough?" He's like, "No." He's got a laser beam of a wrist shot.
Yeah, we saw it in the preseason.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So when he starts letting pucks fly a little bit more, he figures out that spacing a little bit better, and he can, get the puck across the line more consistently. I think that in 2 or 3 years, Daniil Boot could be a staple of the top 6 for the Mammoth and a 60 to 70 point guy.
Wow.
That's pretty high. That's pretty high praise. Pretty tall expectations too, but he is tall, so it works out. The announcement this week, obviously there was a lot going on in the background. At one point on Tuesday, we were all like, I thought Cole was going to join us. He's like, well, he's working on something. And then we were like, ew. And then it turned into, there might be an announcement next week. And then it got to the point where everybody started to find out about it. And so then they're like, we're putting this thing together. Bring in Gary Bettman, fly him in. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. How did that thing come about? And it sounds like it's been a long time in the works. They were just, getting the details nailed down, all those things. But how big of a deal is the outdoor game, and how big of a deal is the Winter Classic in this league?
Yeah, that's why I'm a sicko, because I worked like 16 hours that day.
Jeez.
But I loved it, morning skate and chatting with all the guys, and then going to Rice-Eccles, and, Winter Classic is announced. Like, this is the marquee event for the National Hockey League, aside from the playoffs.
Right.
This is almost their Super Bowl, if you will, because hockey at its roots is a game that was played outside. It's played on the frozen lakes and ponds, up in Minnesota and Michigan and throughout Canada.
In Ontario.
Yeah, exactly.
Calgary.
That's where this game is played.
Yukon territory.
Don't just start throwing out like all the places in Canada.
Saskatoon, all those places. It's a huge deal, because the conversations that I was a part of and that they had said publicly when they first started talking about an outdoor game was that it was just going to be a stadium series. And the stadium series is fun. It's fine, but it's more of like a complimentary event. Yeah. Like the Winter Classic is the Winter Classic. It is the event. It was started back in 2008 when the NHL was looking for something like that to compete, to have a big event when football kind of starts to slow down a little bit. Obviously, playoffs rev up, but in that period where, hey, we could do something special and compete and get tons of people and put the eyes of the sports world upon the league. They brought in Sidney Crosby, who was the star of the league, the young star of the league. They played in Buffalo, so they had a blizzard. The ice conditions were horrid. Like, they had chunks of ice coming up. They were patching it. I love it. They were going out there. The snow's coming down. They're basically just taking snowballs and patching it in and pouring water on it to get it, back to where it needed to be. There's a clip of Crosby where he comes off the ice and he's like, the puck weighs 5 pounds out there. I don't know what to do with it. And if you watch that game, the hockey was atrocious, but it was the coolest thing ever. And that's what we're going to get here in Utah.
It's like the Turkey Bowl. Force a bunch of NFL guys to come out to your ward house, play behind the church, and be like, "This grass is terrible." I know, isn't it awesome?
Tearing Achilles.
Better figure it out.
But about half the league has never hosted a Winter Classic.
Yeah.
So for Utah in year 3 to get one,
pretty quick.
Arizona had never played in an outdoor game.
That's sad.
Utah comes in year 3, and they get to host it.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, and so I hope that Utahns are as excited about this as I am, because this is the purest form of hockey. It's a major marquee event, and the fact that the NHL entrusted Ryan Smith, SEG, and the Utah Mammoth to host it speaks volumes about how well hockey is thriving here.
Well, it feels like the league couldn't wait to do it here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it
was either an All-Star game or the Winter Classic. That's what they said.
Wow. What would you prefer?
The Winter Classic, hands down.
Really?
100%.
That's interesting.
Like, I think that, the All-Star game is broken in the NHL.
Right.
That's why Four Nations was so amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a success.
That's a good point.
The Winter Classic, it's not like this off game that doesn't count. It's a regular season game.
Right.
And these guys, like, we're getting Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar and Gabriel Landeskog to come to town and to play against the Mammoth. Like, it's going to be sold out. It's going to be packed out.
With 55,000 fans watching.
Yeah, and it might be 50-50 in terms of the fan support. Like, you might have
keep those Avalanche fans out of here.
But Utah,
Go home.
That matchup, I was told that matchup was really important. They weren't going to settle for anybody but Colorado.
Really?
They wanted the Avalanche to come to town.
That's awesome.
They want that rivalry to grow. They want to face them in the playoffs. They want it. They want all the smoke. They want to play Colorado.
Okay.
Well, this year,
Maybe not this year.
pump the brakes.
Here's what
Nice to have 4 games.
Slow down now.
Cool.
Here's what I
Careful
like
what
about
you
it,
ask
though.
for.
I don't know that there's a team in the NHL that has played Colorado better than Utah.
That's
this year.
true.
They've, They've beat them.
And then they took them to overtime, right?
Took them to overtime,
Yeah.
and then they've taken them right down to the and lost by a goal.
Yep.
They wouldn't beat them, but they would make their lives real tough. They could push them to 5 or 6.
And that would be a really interesting way for the Mammoth to break into the playoffs for the first time.
Yeah.
And kind of send a message that we're next.
Yeah.
Now that you're talking me into it, I kind of like that, even though I'd like to see the Mammoth advance, and it probably wouldn't happen this year. But, hey, if you want to become the best team in the league, you can't be afraid of the Avalanche.
Hey,
So, yeah, I kind of like it.
I think a couple of times ago when we talked to you, maybe 3 weeks ago, I guess we probably talked to you about this, but the power play for this team is not good. They're at the bottom, I think they're 29th right now as of today. And last time we talked to you, there might have been 13%, and they were dead last. But so I guess they've moved up a little bit. But what's improving with the power play, or what's struggling still with the power play? They're doing pretty darn well at the penalty kill. I think they're 12th in the league. But when you're 29th, 30th, 31st, that's where they've been all season long with the power play numbers. How do you get that kind of a number up, and how do you change the vibe of? Because at some point you kind of just that's who your team is a little bit.
Yeah.
But what is it that they have to change to be able to get aggressive? Because getting around the puck and getting to the net on power play, what are they doing wrong that where teams have figured out? It seems like some of them have figured out like how to kind of defend their version of the power play.
Well, 29th is better than 32nd.
That's true.
They're at 15.5% now, whereas they were like 13.7.
When they were dead last.
Yes, when they were dead last. I think in December, their power play was up at about 20%, whereas November it was 5.7%. So, month to month, a 15% increase, and then obviously about a 2.5% increase overall. I think what the struggles have been for this team is they've been just too perimeter of a power play team. When you've watched, if you've watched when they've had success, they're generating traffic in front of the net. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's why they love a guy like Daniel Boot, is because he generates traffic. When you're playing perimeter in the NHL, the goalies are just so good that they're not going to be taken by surprise on a one-timer from the wing. They're not going to be taken, by surprise from a blast from the point.
Right.
You got to generate traffic. You got to get them moving side to side. You got to get bodies in front. You got to get them screened. You got to block their vision, and you also got to try to score, greasy goals.
Yeah.
Where the goaltender makes the original save, but you got a body right there to clean it up. That's how Ottawa scored on the power play the other night. The puck, Veggie made a good original save, but the puck dropped right in front. The guy just cleans it up, sweeps it into the net. So that I think is where they've started to improve. Is they've recognized we got to stop this perimeter stuff. We can't be a one-trick pony of feeding Dylan Guenther on the left wing every single time, because it's not a surprise anymore. Goaltenders know how good Dylan Guenther is. They know, and it's not hard to see it coming, right? It's the same thing. They start up at the point. They go to Keller. He goes back down to Sergachev, and Sergachev swings. As I've watched it recently, the goaltender is sitting right on that near post ready for it. So unless Dylan really blasts one over the shoulder, it's not going to go in.
Right.
And so, how do you improve? You keep working at it. You keep showing up. You dig a little deeper. You battle a little harder. They've changed, the units occasionally. Brought guys up, brought guys down, but it's just a grind. You just keep going, and you hope that numbers improve, and they have, and that's positive. So just keep going.
Reached the halfway point in the NHL season. I want to get your thoughts on where things are at league wide. Biggest disappointment, biggest surprise in the league so far, halfway through.
Biggest disappointment, just from a league standpoint?
Sure.
Winnipeg is
it's
falling
gotta be the Jets, man.
off.
Come on.
What's up with that?
Hellebuck was out for a month.
They've lost 11 games in a row.
He also hasn't really returned to form.
Well,
either.
and they lost one of their best players to Carolina in the offseason.
Yeah.
I think it was Ehlers. Mm-hmm. He walked, and Hellebuck is that team. Like, he is everything about that team.
Yeah.
And when your best goaltender's gone for a month, who's top 2, top 3 in the league, you're not going to win a lot of hockey games. So I think that has definitely been the biggest disappointment. The way Colorado's playing is not necessarily a surprise, but how dominant they are is a little bit of a surprise. But if I had to go just kind of based off of, general, I think where things are at in terms of the playoff standings in both conferences. I mean, Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota in the Central is not a surprise. But then you go to the Pacific, Vegas only has 5 more points than Utah. And they've got an all-star team. Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Mark Stone. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a team that should be 55-60.
Yeah.
Edmonton struggled for the first, month of the season. Seattle is in a playoff spot. San Jose is in a wild card spot. Anaheim was on fire to start the year. They have significantly cooled off. Nashville isn't as bad as everybody thought they were going to be. And then you look over to the East, and Detroit is a very, very good team. The Islanders they're second in the Metropolitan, and then you look at who's out of it. The Washington Capitals are not in a playoff spot. Toronto is a joke. Toronto's approaching a point where you might have to burn it all down. Like, Mitch Marner left that team, and they're terrible.
They got 49 points.
Yeah, like Toronto is reaching a point where you might have to go. We might need to rebuild here.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
You have Austin Matthews and William Nylander and Jonathan Tavares, and you can't even be in a wild card spot?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's tough.
So, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the Florida Panthers they're 6th in the wild card race in the East. Obviously,
Should they panic?
2 of their best players have been injured all season. Matthew Tkachuk, not having him, and then their captain. That's
Can you imagine the Panthers not even getting a chance to defend?
Tkachuk is close, but they're going to have to push. They're going to, of the last probably.
they're only 3 points out, so.
Yeah. But they're going to have to push. So, I don't know. The league has kind of flipped on its head a little bit this year. It's kind of like the NFL.
And that's fun.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I'm looking at the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah. What? Were you surprised by that?
The Pittsburgh Penguins were awful. Right. They were considerations to trade Crosby a season ago, and now they're probably gonna make the playoffs. They're a point back from being 3rd in their division, and they've won 6 in a row. Like honestly, the season is just on something, and I don't know what it is, but it's fun, right?
That's why you like professional leagues. That's why the NFL's good.
Yeah,
that's why the NFL. That's why you do like the NFL, because there is that parity there.
Yeah. But then you look at Colorado's record, you're like, well, what are we even doing here?
32-4 is pretty wild.
Can anybody beat them in a 7-game series?
71 points. Only 43 games.
How do you only have 4 losses, and we're almost mid-January?
It's crazy.
Almost half the league is between 40 and 50 points right now.
Yeah. Right.
That's how much and so that's why, has Utah disappointed? Yeah. But not by much. I think, where they should be is probably around 50 points. So they're really only 5 points shy of where they should be. It's just so
tough because you're in a division where you have a 71-point team and then 2 60-point teams.
The Central is a juggernaut.
It's an absolute mess to try to get some advantage there.
They have to settle for a wild card spot.
Yeah.
From day one, that's what Utah's facing.
Yeah.
There's no team in the East that's close to 60, 56. And you got 3 60-plus point teams in your own division.
Right. Those are the teams. Those are the 3 teams ahead of you in the standings.
And they all have the best goal differential in the National Hockey League. Yeah. And Colorado's is plus 76. The second is plus 29.
They've scored 175 goals this year. The Avalanche. That's insane. That's like at least. The Stars are second best there, and they're 22 goals better than them.
Yeah.
Than the Stars. So it's crazy. Cole, tonight. The Blues, speaking of divisional opponents, speaking of teams that were in the playoffs last year, and also a team that they're not that far off. They're 42 points and they're second to last in the division. But between St. Louis and the Mammoth, that's 4 teams that are separated by 3 points, and they're one of those teams that are just 3 points behind the Mammoth. Tell us what happens tonight as St. Louis comes to town. Bill Armstrong's old team that he was the assistant GM for.
Yeah, I mean, I think St. Louis they're not overly similar to Ottawa, but they're definitely a scrappier team. They've been struggling in terms of scoring goals, giving up a lot of goals. Their goal differential is one of the worst in the NHL at minus 43.
Wow.
But they're still able, to win hockey games. I mean, if you look at over the last 10, they're 5-4-1. So they're scrappy. And, I would expect another close game. I think there was a stat that like 65+% of games this year have been decided by one goal. That's just going to continue. That's why we're seeing all this parity. And, I'm going to say this every single game, but every single game right now for Utah is a must win because you're at home for 10 of the next 14. You need to generate some sort of space between yourself and everybody beneath you as you push to get into a wild card spot because Logan Cooley is going to be coming back. Bill told me on the record yesterday, either before or after the Olympics. Obviously, that's broad, but there's a chance he could be back before the Olympics. So, keep winning, utilize the fact that the schedule is now favoring Utah. They now play, majority of their games at home. And this is a swing game, right? It's not an Eastern Conference opponent where it's just 2 points. No, this is a 4-point swing game. So make sure that they get 2 and don't go to overtime. Don't give them 1. Get it done, get 2, and move on to the next.
I've been saying it on the show. January, it's go time for this team. 100%. You do it now or you're not.
Yes, this is prove it now.
Now is the time.
Cole, you do a pretty darn good job, man. Thanks for always coming in and educating us.
Cole, you're not Cheeks.
Well, yeah. Thanks for educating us plebes on the game, and it is good to get these kinds of breakdowns. It's good to have somebody who knows what they're talking about.
What would your hockey nicknames be?
That's a good question.
I mean, you'd probably just go by JJ.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alex.
Alexei? Yeah.
Alex,
told me a Russian.
Alex, you got to put an on the end of it.
No, I like the Alexei because it makes me sound tougher, like a Russian.
Alexer.
No, Alexer's been a good guy. He's a good shot. Kiers, he's a good guy. Kiers, good guy.
Kiers, it's Kiers.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! All right,
Kiers and Jenner.
We'll be looking for the hat trick tonight, and of course after in this breakdown of this one, and Cole showing up on the show, courtesy of the folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union. Growing stronger together. Cole, thanks for hanging out, man. Have fun over there at Delta Center. All right, we'll take the break. We'll come back. We got more around the corner. Stay with us as we get you ready for the Mammoth at the top of the hour. Let's also, they're about to kick off the old semifinal game here. Let's get it going.
Here we go.
Stay here, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, it's a good song to jam to on a Friday, right?
Where does that rank among the greatest rock songs of all time?
I will say it's probably top 15. Here's the thing about it. It's definitely number 1 on Guitar Hero. Definitely number 1 on Guitar Hero.
It's higher for me.
Where's Freebird on the list then for you? Because I don't know if I look at that and go, oh yeah, that's going to be a top 5.
It is for me.
All right.
I gotta make a list.
Hey, Annapolis. Make him finish his list next week. Okay, let's hold him to it. My question is this.
Did I just create more work for myself?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Now you're going to actually
what's the cutoff?
Hold me to it.
Like, what's like the, for you, like what constitutes it? You know what I mean? Like, are we talking about a classic rock? Like, are we talking like a 60s?
I'm just it's all-encompassing rock.
Okay. Because, I don't think grunge is, really in that. You know what I mean? But you and I both love ourselves some grunge.
I think it's aged well, and I think that if you look at some of the songs, I think Even Flow by Pearl Jam, I would say that's something, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Did I tell you, I was in an English class in 8th grade, and our teacher was like, I want you guys, she's like a real, hippie type.
Yeah.
I want you guys to, and we had this corner, we had all our reading, and it was supposed to be like a thinking corner, right? And it was a tough class. It was like some honors class in 8th grade English. She's like, I want this to be you guys, and you guys need to come up with a theme. And we called the corner Even Flow, and we decorated it with all these butterflies and said, where thoughts arrive like butterflies. And she thought we were such poets. I'm like, this is freaking Eddie Vedder. This lady didn't know. So we had this funny thing where it was like a tree, and it said Even Flow, where thoughts arrive like butterflies. She thought we were just like, I was like, yeah, no, we are. Oof, yeah. And it had all these butterflies on the wall. And I was like, I don't know if this is the.
You almost won a scholarship for that poem.
She's like, she thought we were we're thinking so outside the box. Stole it from Eddie Vedder. And if we wouldn't have, it would have been stolen from Kurt Cobain. That's where we got our inspiration from. By the way, just a little update for you. Trinidad Chambliss got denied his 6th-year extension, dude, for the NCAA. The NCAA denied it. Does that count?
The NCAA actually did something?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Does that count? Because if I got that
just
from them,
ignore him. Diego Pavia did.
That's what I was going to say. If they said no, I'd shake my hands at my lawyers and be like, we're in business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So the odds of him coming back, I don't hate it because I really like that dude as a player.
I love the story where a guy grinds in Division III, Division II, JUCO, and then makes it to the big stage and does something like that. And Trinidad Chambliss is one of those stories. That's why we watch and love college football. You know, we're watching too much of this crap where these guys are making $4 million and all this stuff going on that feels like pro football. And then all of a sudden a story like Trinidad Chambliss happens and reminds you why we fell in love with college football in the first place.
It is tough because this is a guy who I don't know what his NFL prospects would look like. I don't know.
He'll get a look now.
Well, I think so too.
He was awesome last night.
He was really, really good. And by
they
the
were
way,
one play away.
And by the way, if you're a scout watching that game, you go, "Oh, this guy got sacked once by one of the best defensive lines in the country and one of the best defenses in the country. He got sacked once. Why? Because he gets rid of the ball quick. The NFL puts a huge premium on guys who can process and throw and get through their progressions and throw quick.
3 things are in demand right now for a quarterback at all levels. Quick release, strong arm, athleticism. And he has those 3 things.
I think he's
got a shot.
Is he big? I don't know if he's big or not.
There's a reason why he was at D2, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But, I mean, I don't know.
So, and that always comes
down
down to the measurables, or I don't know what he was like or what he looked like when he was in high school or what his background is.
Ooh.
But he's only 6'1".
He's a second to fourth round projection.
Yeah.
That's nice.
He's proven now.
The thing is I would just feel bad.
He's done at Ole Miss. He's proven.
I know. I would just feel bad if the guy gets denied a 6-year waiver and then he has no shot in the NFL.
Right.
And then that's potentially $2 or $3 million out the door. And that's where if you go to the NCAA and you go, hey, look, I played in JUCO for free basically, but my talent level's here, and you're denying me to be able to earn $2 or $3 more million. So if he has a shot to make the league, then you kind of don't feel as bad for him. But he's got, according to many scouts, according to this article, significant NFL potential. Early to mid-round guy. All right, so there you go. I'm glad for him then. I hope we get 6 year of eligibility. Might be a diamond in the rough for him. Might be a good thing for him to be able to do that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to get you ready for it. The Utah Mammoth taking on the St. Louis Blues over here across the street. 6 o'clock is your pre, and then a 7 o'clock puck drop right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Oh, nightmare start for the Oregon Ducks and Dante Moore. 11 seconds in. First snap of the game for the Oregon offense, a pick 6 by Indiana. They're up 7-0, and they just kicked the ball off again. So let's see if they can get it going again. Dan Lanning had a nice smile on his face and was trying to tell Dante Moore to relax, but everybody else is going, oh, boy.
I've seen this movie before, Dante Moore throwing interceptions against Indiana.
it's not a great start. So Indiana doesn't even have to take the field. They defer to the second half for possession. That's why it is so tough when you give if you turn the ball over the very first possession of a game and you're already behind the 8 ball, not just because of the score, but you're giving the ball to this team again in the second half right out of the gate. Your advantage of getting the ball first on offense is gone immediately, and it's just a terrible start for Dante Moore and the Oregon Ducks, who now start up their second time around here as they get going in the college football playoff semifinal. And what is this, the Peach Bowl? Yeah.
Yes.
In Atlanta. They did a wide shot of the stadium. JJ and I were watching this thing. What do you think the percentage is of red to green in that stadium?
70-30.
I mean, it may even be more. It might be 80-20. It is so many Indiana fans who have waited a lifetime, their ancestors coming back from the dead to attend this game because that's how bad they've been forever. Excuse me. Sorry.
Is Bobby Knight there then?
Oh, would you settle down? I'd say let him rest, but I don't know if he's resting.
Or did Satan wouldn't give him the weekend off?
Hey, I didn't know. Give him the weekend off. He's on house arrest with the hell anklet on.
Lucifer wouldn't let him loose for a
Oh my
day.
goodness. Well, that's bad. But hey, yeah, sure. Are you kidding me? He never thought once about Indiana football ever. I bet he didn't even attend a football game ever.
I wouldn't have attended back then.
Even as a thanks. All right. Mammoth and St. Louis Blues over at Delta Center coming up 6 minutes away from your pregame starting up here. JJ, how does this one go for this team, and what do they have to do to get the second win in a row here at home?
I like the way they're playing right now. I think that that Rangers game really galvanized this team, and I like the way they came out and played against Ottawa. Feels like they've got something building now. And they played the Blues on the road a while back and really took it to them. And the Blues came back in that game and made it interesting. But
it's 3-0 in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, that was when Logan Cooley got the hat trick in the first period. So I think that the at home, the matchup I like for Utah, I think the Mammoth get a win tonight, and they need to get a win tonight. You got to start stacking these W's, as we've talked about repeatedly, and tonight's another chance to do that. So you've got this one, and then they come back around on Monday, and they've got themselves a game. Oh, let me see here. They're taking on the Blue Jackets on Columbus Blue Jackets is on Sunday.
Oh, that's a Sunday game.
Yes.
Yeah. So they go tonight, and then they go Sunday against the Blue Jackets. Yeah, and that's one too. That's one that they can absolutely get. You bring a team in here out of the Eastern Conference who doesn't know a ton about this team and doesn't play a lot at this.
You're not losing at home to the Blue Jackets. You can't lose at home to the Blue Jackets.
I don't know enough about them. I know last year they weren't great, but I know this year they're not nearly as bad as they were last year.
Then the Leafs are in town on Tuesday.
Oof. And that's a team that needs a W. Man, ooh. That'd be nice.
They're as desperate as the Mammoth.
Well, and you start talking about getting eyeballs on your team and then getting wins that mean a lot. Anytime you beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I was at the game. I think I was at the game last year when they lost to Toronto here at home. All right, Mammoth, St. Louis Blues next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.